where in your life have you had trouble like getting over something, DC?
Oh, wow. God, there's a lot, really.
There's a lot, eh?
Well, I remember when I got let go from Toronto Hydro, for example, that was
Mhm.
that was a tough one to let go. Um, getting packaged out, fired, kicked to
Mhm.
the curb, tossed out. Never feels good, right? It
Mhm.
just feels
Mhm.
like, even if it was something you didn't want to, like I was like I said, I was a treasury analyst. My job had changed tremendously from when I started. I didn't really like at the end, like what it's more accounting than really
Mhm.
treasury analyst and stuff
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
it was funny. It wasn't like anything I love, but it's like, but somebody's, still saying they don't want you.
Mhm.
It hurt, right? It's still, I ended up reaching out to the boss. Well, I went through 7 bosses in a year. I reached out to the boss last year. We're talking about forgiveness because honestly, even though I'm better off now than I was there, and he did me a favor. His Francois did a great favor for me, and I appreciate everything he did. At the time, it was still bitter. It took me years to get over that.
Yeah. Like,
You
were you
know,
bitter at him?
yeah.
Really?
Well, because I knew from the beginning that like there's some issues that like I knew it was going to happen since he was hired. It was just one of
Mhm.
those things.
You saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of feel it too. But then I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, man, I just wanted. I think did LinkedIn. We were friends on LinkedIn. I said, "This is will let you know. It's like, I know I appreciate. Thank you again for for the time we worked together. It was a little. I don't know if I told him I was bitter a little bit again, but I'm like, but I understand it was the doors were opening for me.
Mhm.
And it was a good thing to get off my chest,
Yeah.
and it was, but it's still like, and it doesn't bother me at night,
Mhm.
like there are times, the other thing I still is hard for me to get over is like how things went down for university. If the hockey career was just, there were some things over there. So and it's funny how it comes up in your dreams once in a
Yeah.
while. It just, as much as I've tried to make peace with it, like
Mhm.
your subconscious doesn't let you go with it.
Mhm.
And there's other times when I remember I was dating this girl, which I didn't think we were really dating, but then she's like, but she's kind of like, I didn't really feel anything for me. And I was
Mhm.
like, and all of a sudden then they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, I didn't feel anything for her. But it was like, but then you're like counteractive. Then he started to feel something because
Mhm.
there's the whole thing that they didn't want you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then so there's a lot of those, right? That happens. Now it's just like, I don't know, they're just, at peace with, like, I'm trying to make peace with a lot of things in my life and
Mhm.
trying to get over them, which I don't think as Italians, we like, at least our culture, we just
You hold
don't
on to
do that.
things,
You
eh?
hold on to things.
Yeah.
My dad told, like, even when he was dying, he's like, I'm the revenger. We used to call him. Like, my
Mhm.
cousins used to make fun of him. Like, he was, I'll never, like, he would almost like not forgive people in the
Yeah.
sense. And I'm like, Dad, you can't really live that way,
Mhm.
like, because holding on to things, it manifests itself deeper root in your body. And it can come out as a physical form. If you're holding grudges and hating on somebody,
Mhm.
there's that stat which was coming out, like how cancers and stuff are formed
Mhm.
basically because people not forgiving other people.
It's the energy you hold on, the
Yeah.
vibration in your body that
It's negative.
creates like a negative sensation
Yeah.
that impacts your whole bodily functions, which produces the sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like cancers are linked. That's like, I was like, cancers are linked to like I don't know how they scientifically link
Mhm.
that. And some of the doctors might come at us for saying this stuff, but we're not the ones. This is just, again, I forget the article I was reading, but it was something on Instagram. It was like,
it's interesting.
Interesting.
Do you find that it's like the closure that you're looking for? For example, like when you think about the hockey, the girl from back in the day, is it the closure aspect that, or maybe certain
Do
things?
we really have closure?
I don't think you ever have closure.
I don't think none of us ever have closure.
Because you and I can have a conversation about closure, but then in retrospect, maybe a year or two later, I come back and like, damn, what I know now, I wish I was able to ask that person then.
Yeah.
And that person is so far removed from the situation that even though if you have a chance to do it, it just seems so out of the the life scope. Like, like that's way in the past. Like, why do you care? And then if you were to see them in person, they may be
like, who are you?
Who are you? Like, what happened? I'm like, I'm not even emotionally attached to that situation anymore. Yeah. So to even give you that level of
it was funny. It was funny too. I was dating this girl back in the day, and before Natalie and I, and in between. Back in, it's like 2006. And
is it the breakup period you guys had together? And then you
one of them. We had a couple of breakup periods. So anyway, this time I was dating a girl, and she had a friend which was friends of my cousin's good friend, and they ended up getting. And well, we did because we squalled them and stuff, and I remember after when her and I broke up, and we go to parties, and she'd always look at me funny, and I'm like, she wouldn't come near me, she'd leave, and I'm like,
She's like disgusted by you.
Yeah, or disgusted, or just mad or something like that too. And I remember a couple of years ago, I got drunk and I said to her, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm like, you're all mad you leave her every time. I'm like, I still talk to her. Like literally, I had a conversation with her the other day. She knows Natalie. I talked to her about her husband. Like, we're still friends. I'm like, but you, which weren't even part of a relationship, can't get over how me and her broke up. Does that make any sense? Like, and it was like, you're harboring this hate towards me, which A, you don't know anything about. That you had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. And the second one, I was just like, but first of all, who are you? Like, you're like a surface friend, you know, like, and just like, you didn't even ask me what happened or anything too. Like, you didn't even ask her probably either.
Yeah.
Because she's fine with me now too. It's like, so how are you harboring hate towards me?
Yeah.
If the person you're trying, it's like being offended over somebody who doesn't realize they're offended. You know, those people, like, I'm offended on their behalf.
Yeah.
Like, she was mad at me
like
on my ex-girlfriend's behalf. I'm like, dude, she's not even mad.
She's not even mad. She's moved on.
God, it's just, I think some people just love to be miserable and they love it. We have a couple friends like that. We have one friend, she's divorced now, and she's like, the whole world, she keeps fighting with her close friend. She can't understand why people keep leaving her live, like leaving her life, and like getting out of, because I remember I saw her in North Frills years ago with Matea, and she just started breaking down crying. We're like, me and Matea's looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with this lady? Yeah. And she was just like, we were just having a normal conversation. There was no hate, and she just started like, she's always harvesting these negative emotions, and always crying on the drop of a dime, and how her world is so terrible all the time. And I'm like, how do you live like that? Like, and all of her friends are just like kind of pulling away from her. And now you know why. Like, it's
man, you know, when we're talking about this moving on things, like, I don't really think we can ever truly move on, right? Because when we talk about like relationships, there's like, you know, my ex, I was with her for like 5 years. And, you know, it's one of those things like when you're deeply in love with someone, and then one day I woke deeply. One day you wake up and like, you know, I don't think this is going to happen anymore. But I think it was the fact that, you know, we just called it quits, and that was the end of it. There was no
closure.
There's like, the closure was very like surface level. It wouldn't really talk extensively about it, you know? Like, you move on, bro, and you move on. And especially when you're so invested in someone for that long, and then it just happens, it really eats at your life, because it shows you that, man, like, did they really care? Were they really about?
Well, I wouldn't say they didn't care, but I think maybe priorities changed. Maybe something in their lives just changed. So it's, and I wouldn't say she didn't care, but maybe,
I don't know,
never, maybe things had changed the last few years for her, you know, like, again, if you're not talking about it, sometimes you don't even know. Right. And you might have had a superficial love in that kind of sense. And I hate to say that, but it could have been.
I don't think it was superficial though.
I mean, at the end of it, right? Well, if you didn't know why she didn't they think there was anything wrong with it or something happened like that, maybe it was more superficial than you thought it was.
And the thing is, I think is like, even just like saying, yo, like, let's try work it out. I see why you're doing this. Like, I think just the fight, it just made me feel like I wasn't wanted or anything, or maybe I think that's what that
ex-girlfriend happened to me too. Where I didn't think anything. And she's like, what do you mean you don't want me? I'm like, how do you mean you don't want me? I'm like, I don't want you either, but like, it doesn't matter. Like, how do you not want me? Like, how dare you?